8 Habits of Successful Real Estate Investors. That's today's show. Let's dive into it. Here we are at our very first rental property. Hey everyone, welcome to the show. When you are done with today's episode, you're going to learn the 8 strategies that successful investors use in order to build passive income. Welcome to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Clayton. I'm a longtime real estate investor. Used to work a day job, like probably most of you did. I decided, though, a couple of years ago to say bye-bye to the man and focus on passive income instead. You see, while I was working at that day job, I was buying rental properties. So much so that enough passive income started coming in every month where I got to say goodbye to the day job and now financially free. The whole goal of this channel is to help you do the very same thing. All of the tools are right here on this channel. You can watch all of them and go out there and take action and become a real estate investor and start to build wealth exactly the way that I did it. So on today's show, I want to talk about the 8 strategies that successful real estate investors use in order to achieve success. All right, step 1 in this process is they see the bigger picture. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, very often when investors are just getting started, they're going after that one rental property and they're so worried about every little thing about that one property, they don't think from the larger picture. That is, real estate investors who understand that this is a long process tend to think like they have 50 properties. So often when I'm working with a new real estate investor, I'll say to them, would this bother you if you had 50 rental properties, right? You're going to have an eviction at some point. So are you worried about getting started with real estate investing because you're worried about that one eviction that you might have? Of course you're going to have an eviction. That's part of real estate investing. Now, act as if you have 50 properties. See the bigger picture. When you act as if you have 50 rental properties, you're not going to care terribly much about the one eviction. You'll realize it's part of the process. It's part of doing business, right? You work with a great property management team, they're going to remove that tenant and place a new tenant in the property. Tenant turnover and you're back up and running again, okay? But you're seeing the bigger picture of your investing goals. You're understanding that it's about building net worth and it's not just about the cash flow. And it's also not just about the process of buying a house. Again, I always say I don't fall in love with real estate. To me, they're 4 walls and a roof. What I fall in love with is the cash flow, the freedom that it affords. So see the bigger picture. Number 2, key to being a successful investor is to build a goal journal. Now, here's one that I use. I use this Michael Hyatt, great podcaster, former publisher. He's been a guest on the show before. Michael Hyatt is a great lifestyle entrepreneur. He built a thing called the Full Focus Planner. That's something that I use. I put my goals down in this planner every quarter, and I write them out and map them out. What are the goals that I want for my life? What are the goals that I want for my profession? And how do I want to bring it all together? You don't need to use that. You can get a simple planner. You can use an online journal. You can open Google Docs on your iPad and just type out a daily goal sheet for yourself. It doesn't matter, but successful entrepreneurs have a goal. They're moving towards that goal. Okay, if you don't have that goal and you don't write it down, you are not going to hit it. It's that simple. Ask any successful entrepreneur and successful investor if they journal or if they keep a goal sheet. They're all going to say yes. Okay? They're all going to say yes. It is the key. It may be more important than anything else on this entire list is to have that goal sheet and to move towards it. Step 3 in this process is that successful investors stay true to their why. What does that mean? Well, I've asked you before on this channel to focus on your why first. Why do you want to become an investor? Is it to spend more time with your family? Is it to give more back to your community and spend more time volunteering? Is it to cater and take care of a sick loved one that you want to spend the last few years, remaining moments of their life together and be present for that person? We all have a why. What is your why? You need to figure this out. The mechanics of investing later, I don't care about, right? Should you buy a business? Should you invest in real estate? Should you invest in gold? I don't care. Those are the mechanics, okay? That's the how. True successful investors are really, really clear about their why. So maybe in your journal, you write down your why on every page at the top or at the start of each week as you're taking your goals into account. You put your why back there so you're seeing it front and center, and make sure it's in alignment with your family as well. The number 4 way that successful investors operate, they ask for help. Asking for help is a powerful tool. See, I like going into rooms with successful entrepreneurs who are always asking questions. Why? They're not ignorant. You think, well, that guy, all he does is ask questions. No one ever thinks that. No one ever thinks that. Successful entrepreneurs ask questions. At lunch with Robert Kiyosaki, the author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, he wasn't talking about himself at all. He just kept asking me questions to the point where I was getting frustrated. I want to ask him questions, right? And he does that because he's so curious. He's curious because that's how you build wealth. That's how you are successful. You're learning constantly. You have the wherewithal to ask for things you don't understand. I was working on a big land project recently, and I know somebody that has done a lot of them. So I called him up, and I said, "Hey, can I borrow some time from you? I treat me like I'm a 5-year-old. I literally don't know what I'm doing with this project right now." And he walked me through step by step. And now I have a framework. And guess what? I'm going to go back to that person because I'm going to probably have to ask follow-up questions, which is fine. But admitting that you don't have all of the answers is powerful. So when you're a newbie investor and you decide to go to your first sort of investing meetup somewhere, don't walk into the room and pretend that you know everything, okay? Don't go there and pretend that you're some big fancy real estate investor, because you're not. Go there and tell them that you're new, okay? And you will be surprised at how many people want to fill up your cup with information because you are being open and honest and transparent. Don't pretend you know everything, because you don't. I don't. No one does. We're constantly learning. So don't be afraid to ask questions. It's one of the true signs of a successful person. The 5th habit of a successful person is building relationships. You never are going to be able to do this by yourself. People talk about self-made millionaires. Come on, really? No, you're not doing it by yourself. There are always people helping successful people out along their journey. I look at all of the people I've surrounded myself with, from our great tax team, from our great legal team, from our great financial team, all of those people, from my employment team, everyone on my team who has an expertise that's better than me. When you surround yourself with those successful people, you surround yourself with relationships, that is how you can help move forward. But what is a relationship? Don't be an energy vampire, okay? Don't suck the life out of other people. I recently, really kind of sad, had to end a friendship after many, many years because this person was just an energy vampire. Really just would take and take and take and never really give at all. And you find that there are people like that in your life. You'll find there's people that are floating around in your life. And those relationships don't work because it's not 50-50, right? Relationships aren't 50-50. They should be 100%, 100%. You should be able to give 100% of yourself to somebody else. And a true friend, a true relationship will be able to give 100% of themselves to you. Not 50%, not even 25%, right? 100%. So building relationships, going out on a weekly basis or once a month to, have like a mastermind lunch with a group of people that you respect. Invite them out to lunch. Say, I have a lot of respect for what you've done. I'd really love to take you out to lunch and get to know you, right? And learn from you and develop that relationship. Become a friend to those people and start to really cultivate, because you're not going to be able to do it by yourself. If you're an introvert and you're super quiet, guess what? That's something you need to work on. There's plenty of books out there on how to go out and talk to people. There's plenty of really good books on how to have conversations with people. I've gone to real estate meetups before, and there's a guy, I would see him all the time, but he never talked to anybody. He would stand in the corner. So what good is that doing him? To put on a name tag once a month and go, and here's the guy that stands in the corner all the time? Don't be that guy. Don't be that guy. Engage in a meaningful conversation and build relationships. Number 6 habit of successful investors is they're constantly learning. Pick up books, right? We just put together a whole list, 10 best business books that you should read if you want to take action in your life. Check that list out. Check that video out. Those are 10 books you can start with right now in order to help you learn about real estate investing and life in general. I would recommend that. But they're constantly learning. I know the entrepreneurs that I surround myself with are constantly recommending books. They're constantly sharing things that they're reading. and we're sharing notes back and forth about it. You should see text messages sometimes between myself and other successful real estate investors. Sometimes we're texting highlights of books, passages to each other. Instead of texting emojis to people, I'm texting highlights from books that we're reading or on my Kindle. So we want to share in this knowledge, share in this wealth of knowledge out there. We're constantly moving forward in order to become better investors. And the best way to do that is to learn. Again, if you walk in and you pretend that you know everything, you're never going to learn anything. You want to close yourself off because you've got some big ego? I know everything. This guy doesn't know what he's talking about. I'm brilliant. Great. Good luck with your brilliance, as people don't want to hang around you, and you're never going to be able to advance yourself because you won't actually learn from people that have been here before. The things that I do, I'm not reinventing the wheel, but I'm pulling knowledge from all of these different sources in order to become successful. That's how I've done it. Seventh habit of successful investors is you're paying attention to the trends. Now, if you've listened to this channel for any length of time, you know that I cover the news here on the show. I talk about where home builders are right now. They're declining, or the prices are going up, or single-family rentals are the number one place to be investing right now. Large commercial families are not. I'm up on those trends. I'm seeing what's happening in the market, and you should be too. Now, whether that's getting a subscription to the Wall Street Journal or subscribing to this show on a regular basis where we cover these news topics, whatever it happens to be, pay attention, read the news, understand what's going on in the economy. Know that Turkey right now is faltering, right? And that the Turkish lira is in big trouble. How could that affect the broader economy? Paying attention to those things, knowing that where I like to invest in Michigan, billions of dollars have poured into that area from all of these companies who are, relocating there, where the job market is fantastic, where people are moving out of the suburbs in order to move closer to downtown Detroit because of the tax breaks. Guess what? That all comes from reading, right? That all comes from studying. That all comes from knowing. That way you can be out in front of these trends as a real estate investor, okay? So you know to buy properties in these areas because of all the billions of dollars that's pouring into those areas. Other areas of the Midwest I pay attention to. What are the job players coming in there? Is Amazon Distribution Center opening soon in a year or so? Guess what? They're going to need jobs. Guess what? People are going to have to move to that area in order to fulfill those jobs. So pay attention to these news and trends. Very, very important. And the eighth habit of successful investors, and I take it back what I said earlier, but I really think maybe number 8 on this list is the most important. Absolutely the most important. It's how I end every show, right? Which is take action. So the great habits of successful investors are that they just do it. They stop analyzing to death, waiting and waiting and waiting. They go from, I'd like to do that, to I'm going to do that. And they actually make that next big leap, which is they do that. And what's the worst that can happen, right? It can become a learning experience for you. So let's say you buy that $50,000 house and you know what? It's just not working out the way you wanted it to. Maybe you bought it in an area where you just didn't know what you were doing. And okay, well, what's the worst that can happen? You sell the house, right? You don't have a $0 investment like you would if you were in the stock market. Remember, houses can never go down to $0 in value. Or you could work with a better property management company to get it actually cash flowing the way you want it to. Or you could, do something else. It doesn't matter, but you've taken action and you're going to learn from that action because you took it. And it becomes circular. But those people that sit on the sidelines and say that they want to do something and they never actually do it, they're not successful. Then other people are going to be taking action and they're going to be sitting there wringing their hands wondering why they didn't. Those are the 8 habits of successful investors. I see it all the time. The successful investors that I know that have hundreds of properties that are financially free, they follow this list and they have a good mix of all of these habits built into them. I'm Clayton Morris. Thank you so much for subscribing to the channel. If you are ready to take action and become a real estate investor, download my Freedom Cheat Sheet. It's totally free. It's 3 pages. It's a PDF. It will help you figure out how many rental properties it will take for you to achieve financial freedom. You can download it right here or go to morrisinvest.com/freedom to check it out for free. We have a wealth of knowledge here on this channel that I hope you will take and use to the best of your ability to go out there and take action and to become a real estate investor. I believe it's the #1 way to build wealth. We'll see you next time.